Okay, picture this. It's a Saturday afternoon. You've decided to bake a cake. The kitchen smells incredible.
Oh, yeah, that warm vanilla sugar.
Exactly. It's the smell of happiness, basically. You followed the recipe perfectly. You pull it out of the oven, and it looks amazing. High golden, a masterpiece.
You're feeling like a pro.
Totally. You turn your back for, what, 30 seconds to grab a cooling rack? You turn back, and it's a disaster.
The crater.
The crater. The whole center is just caved in. It's not a cake anymore. It's a geological event. And that's when you start blaming yourself.
Always. You think, I'm just a bad baker or this recipe is garbage. It's a specific kind of heartbreak.
It really is.
But here's the thing, and this is why I'm so excited about the source we're digging into today. That blame, it's almost always misplaced.
Oh.
We're looking at a text called kek.txt, which is this surprisingly deep dive into baking physics. And its main point is that a collapsed cake is almost never bad luck.
And not the recipe's fault.
Rarely, it's a failure of physics.
A failure of physics.
Yeah.
I like that. It feels less personal.
Much less personal. The text actually frames the oven not as this cozy appliance, but as the silent but ruthless judge of the kitchen.
The ruthless judge.
It doesn't care about your feelings or if it's for a birthday. It only cares about thermodynamics.
So our mission today is to get past that whole fingers crossed method of baking. We want to understand the actual thermodynamic story happening inside the batter.
To turn you from a recipe follower into a kitchen scientist.
Exactly. So let's start there.
Yeah.
Why does a cake actually fall? What is the physics of the flop?
Well, to get the collapse, you first have to understand the rise. Because a cake is basically this high-stakes race between two competing forces.
A race.
A race. On one side, you've got the lift team.
Okay.
That's the air you beat in. It's the water turning into steam. And it's the gas from your baking powder. They're all expanding, pushing that batter up.
That's the gas pedal.
That's the gas pedal. But at the same time, you have the structure team. The proteins in the eggs, the starches in the flour. As they heat up, they cook. The proteins start locking together, and they're trying to build a solid skeleton to hold all that gas.
So you've got gas trying to blow the house up and steel beams trying to lock it all down.
That's a perfect way to think about it. And a collapse is just a synchronization error between those two.
An error in timing.
The source puts it so simply. Swelling speed has to be synchronized with cooking speed.
Okay.
If the gas expands and then sort of runs out of steam before the skeleton is hard,
Gravity wins.
gravity wins, and the whole thing comes crashing down.
It's like trying to pour a concrete roof before you've even built the walls.
Exactly. And the really tough part is, once that timing is off, you can't fix it. So our source lays out 5 specific saboteurs that cause this problem.
Okay, let's run through them. Saboteur number 1. The text calls it the cold oven,
You.
which seems obvious. Who does that?
You'd be surprised how many people do, sort of. It's about impatience. You turn the oven on, the little light goes off, and you think, okay, we're ready.
I am 100% guilty of trusting the beep. It beeped. It's go time.
And that beep is lying to you. Here's the science. The cake needs to hit what the source calls shock heat the second it goes in.
Shock heat. Sounds intense.
It has to be. If the oven is just sort of warm, say 150 when you need 180, the batter heats up way too slowly.
And the race is on.
Right. The baking powder starts reacting, releasing gas, but because the oven isn't hot enough, the proteins aren't cooking yet. They're still liquid.
So the gas just escapes.
It bubbles right out the top of the wet batter and into the oven. The cake rises for a minute.
And then it crashes. Because there were never any walls built to hold it up.
Precisely. The gas left the building.
So what's the fix? Just preheat for longer.
Much longer. The source is very clear. The oven needs to be soaked in heat. Not just the air, but the actual walls need to be radiating. For most cakes, that's 170 to 180 Celsius.
So preheating isn't a suggestion.
It's a non-negotiable thermodynamic requirement. It's the starting gun.
Got it. Okay, saboteur number 2. This one stings a bit because it's described as a mistake born from good intentions. Overmixing.
Ah, yes. The irony of being a good student. You want everything perfectly blended, no lumps, so you just keep that mixer going.
Yeah, if I see a speck of flour, I'm like, nope, another minute.
And that's the killer. When you overmix, you're doing 2 bad things. First, you're mechanically forcing way too much air into the batter.
Wait, but air's the lift team, right? We want air.
We want air. We don't want a time bomb. Think of those air pockets like balloons. In the hot oven, they expand. If you overmix, you've created these massive, unstable balloons.
Okay.
And the second thing you've done is you've overworked the gluten in the flour. So you've got these giant balloons expanding inside a protein net that's too tight and stressed.
And it just bursts.
It bursts.
Oh.
The source says the cake goes poof the moment it leaves the oven. The internal pressure just blows out the structure.
So how do you find that balance? You don't want lumps of flour either.
Yeah. There's a rule. You beat the eggs and sugar as much as you want. Go crazy. Get that air in.
Right.
But the second the flour goes in, the rules change. You mix only until it's just combined. The batter should be smooth, but not, like, foamy.
So you have to be gentle with the flour.
Very gentle. Okay, on to saboteur number 3. This one's called the early peak.
Or, as I call it, the cold dagger.
Ah! I like that. It's a battle of wills, isn't it? You just want to see how it's doing. But the source calls opening that door, stabbing the cake's heart with cold air.
That's dramatic.
Yeah.
But does opening it for just 2 seconds really make a difference?
A huge difference. The inside of an oven is a hot, humid, pressurized system. That pressure is literally helping hold the cake up while it bakes. You open the door, and a rush of cold, dry air comes in. The temperature can drop instantly by 20 degrees or more.
And the cake feels that immediately.
The gases inside cool down and contract. They deflate. And because the structure isn't fully set yet, the whole thing just collapses.
I'm going to reinflate it.
Nope. The genie is out of the bottle. The source has a great line. Cake likes to be watched, but hates to be interfered with.
Look through the glass.
Always through the glass. And follow the 20-25 minute rule. Do not touch that door for the first 20-25 minutes, no matter what.
Okay, hands off.
What are
What's
you-
saboteur 4? This one is about architecture.
The pan itself. The wrong architecture. The pan is the cake's exoskeleton. It gives it support.
So what happens if the pan's too deep?
If it's too deep, the heat can't get to the center fast enough, so the edges cook. They might even burn, but the center is still raw liquid. You take it out, and that liquid center just collapses.
And if it's too wide?
Then the batter spreads too thin. It rises really fast, but the walls are too weak to support that height. It's like building a skyscraper out of paper.
It's doomed.
Inevitably. But the key thing here isn't just the size, it's what the source calls the fill rate.
The fill rate.
Yeah, the mold should never be more than, say, 60 to 70% full.
So I have absolutely looked at a pan and a bowl of batter and thought, well, if it overflows, so be it.
And that thought, according to our source, means the cake is destined to collapse.
Why?
It needs the walls of the pan to climb, but it also needs that headspace to expand into. If you overfill it, it spills over, loses the support of the wall, and the whole structure just loses its integrity.
Don't be greedy with the batter. Noted. Okay, the last one, number 5, the lying thermostat.
This is the hard truth. The text says, flat out, home ovens usually lie.
I feel so betrayed.
You set it to 180, but it's probably not 180. It heats up to maybe 190, shuts off, cools down to 170, turns back on. The average might be 180, but at any given moment, who knows?
So if it's running too hot,
The outside forms a hard crust immediately, trapping a raw liquid center. Then the whole thing caves in.
and too cold, we know, the gas escapes.
Right, so the source calls an oven thermometer the secret key to mastery. It costs like $5, and it's the only way to know what the ruthless judge is actually thinking.
A small price to pay to avoid a crater cake.
Yeah.
So after all those warnings, the source gives us a golden protocol, like a checklist for success. Can you run us through it?
Of course. It's basically everything we just said, but in order. 1, preheat for at least 15 minutes, let it soak. 2, ingredients at room temperature.
Hold on, we didn't talk much about that. Why room temperature?
Oh, good catch. It's about emulsification. Cold butter and cold eggs just don't blend. You get little chunks of fat. Those melt in the oven and create weak spots, little holes in the structure.
Ah, so it's about creating a uniform batter. Okay, what's 3?
3 is gentle mixing of the flour. 4, correct pan size and fill rate. 5, no peeking. Patience with the door.
And the final test. To know if it's actually done.
The classic toothpick test. Stick it in the center. If it comes out clean, you've won. If there's wet batter, it needs more time. But there's one more step people always forget.
What's that?
The rest. Don't cut it right away. Let it rest in the pan for 10 or 15 minutes. The source says, cake needs to breathe.
That is the hardest part. The kitchen smells amazing. You just want to slice.
I know, but the structure is still solidifying as it cools. If you cut it hot, you let out all the steam that's still helping to hold it up. It can literally deflate right on the plate.
You know, what I found fascinating in the source was the history of this. The whole idea of a collapsing cake is actually a pretty modern problem, isn't it?
It is, completely. It's a side effect of progress of technology.
How so?
Well, in the Middle Ages, cakes were dense. They were yeast-based, more like a sweetbread.
Right, a brick can't really collapse.
Exactly. But then in the 18th and 19th centuries, you get chemical leaveners, baking powder, baking soda, and suddenly we could create these super light, airy, cloud-like cakes.
But with great height comes great instability.
That's it, precisely. The collapsing cake is what the source calls the price of progress. It's not that we're bad bakers, it's that we are trying to create textures that basically defy gravity. We are engineering foam.
That makes me feel so much better about all my past failures. It wasn't me, I was just on the bleeding edge of pastry physics.
I think that's a great way to look at it. You're fighting physics. Sometimes physics wins.
So we've done everything right. We pulled the cake out of the oven. The source has this final, really interesting point about this exact moment. The final secret.
It does, and it's the most philosophical part. It says the cake actually decides whether to collapse after it leaves the oven.
That is ominous.
It's the moment of truth. Inside the oven, the heat and pressure are helping to fight gravity. They're propping the cake up. The second you pull it out, that support is gone.
So it's a standoff.
It's a standoff between the internal structure you've built and the raw, downward pull of the earth. If that structure isn't 100% perfect, gravity wins.
Wow.
The source puts it so well. Baking is a dance of patience and science. And the oven doesn't lie, it just announces your errors loudly.
Usually right in front of your dinner guest.
Always.
So this all changes how you think about baking, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not magic.
Not at all. We have to stop thinking of recipes like spells. We're engineers. We're building a structure. The ingredients are just the materials. The process, the temperature, the timing, that's the actual construction.
You're managing a complex thermodynamic event in your kitchen.
And when you get it right, it's a delicious marvel of engineering, a foam that you can slice.
Well, this has been fantastic. I am officially going to buy an oven thermometer today.
Best $5 you'll ever spend.
Before we sign off, I just want to leave everyone with a final thought. We've been talking about how the environment, the heat, the pan, determines the outcome. We always blame the ingredients, but maybe the ingredients matter less than the conditions we put them in. So are you creating the right environment for the rise, or are you just hoping the ingredients will do all the work?
That's a powerful thought to chew on.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. Now go bake something amazing, and do not open that oven door.
Patience is key.
See you next time.